In the vast realm of medical mysteries, few conditions spark intrigue and frustration like peripheral neuropathy. Picture this: a patient experiencing unexplained tingling, numbness, and pain in their feet or legs goes to their doctor looking for answers and get labeled with the dreaded term idiopathic neuropathy, meaning of unknown cause or origin. Well, what if I told you that many cases of peripheral neuropathy are hastily diagnosed as idiopathic, the sloppy misdiagnosis that can hinder a person's ability to recover? So, in today's video, I'll reveal many hidden toxins that are overlooked and can cause peripheral neuropathy. Coming up. Hey gang, Dr. Valerie Monteiro here. How many of you were diagnosed with idiopathic peripheral neuropathy? Let me know in the comments down below. And also, I want you to tell me how this made you feel when your doctor told you there was no known cause. This diagnosis is what we call the lazy doctor's diagnosis, when a peripheral neuropathy sufferer doesn't have diabetes or hasn't been through chemotherapy. So instead of digging deep into the patient's medical history and lifestyle, the doctor labels their case as idiopathic and tells them it's permanent, and then sends them out the door with medications, and not to mention despair. So today, I'm going to shine light on quite a few of the hidden causes of peripheral neuropathy that the average doctor isn't aware of. Okay, guys, so get ready to hold on to your seats. This hidden cause is one of the largest that most doctors are unaware of. The category is chemical toxicity. We have far more chemicals in our environment today than we did 200 years ago or at the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. Our exposure to these toxins can occur from breathing or from absorption through the skin or eyes. We can also absorb them from the foods or beverages we ingest that contain preservatives, colors, and other chemicals. These toxins are wreaking havoc with our nervous system and really our overall health. The Environmental Protection Agency lists some of the most common chemical toxins we're exposed to, leading to the drastic rise in many diseases like cancer, neurodegenerative diseases, autoimmune, and chronic illnesses. The first ones on our list today are heavy metals. The most common heavy metals are mercury, lead, cadmium, and arsenic. These rank the highest in our environment due to mercury dental fillings, also from agricultural uses with pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides, along with synthetic fertilizers from industrial and technological companies. So let's look at mercury first. Most people gain mercury exposure from dental amalgams, also known as silver fillings. The mercury from these fillings will outgas into your mouth and your bloodstream for as long as you have these fillings. Chewing or consuming foods and beverages that are highly acidic will also accelerate the outgassing of mercury into your body. Norway, Sweden, Denmark, and Germany banned the use of mercury amalgams. These countries rank in the top 10 for being the healthiest countries in the world. In 2018, the rest of the European Union adopted a regulation that banned amalgam use in children under 15, also in pregnant women and breastfeeding women. Now, before you breathe a sigh of relief because you don't have dental amalgams, you may still have a significant amount of mercury exposure if you're consuming certain fish on a regular basis, like tuna, mackerel, marlin, orange roughy, grouper, Chilean sea bass, bluefish, shark, swordfish, and tilefish. These have the highest levels of mercury. However, one that I do want to shine a light on is arsenic. We get exposed to arsenic in our drinking water supply and in the irrigation of food crops, also through industrial processes polluting our air and our water supply, and by eating contaminated foods. Arsenic can be found in rice crops, believe it or not. The nonprofit organization called the Environmental Working Group, or the EWG, has found that rice grown in California or imported from Southeast Asia is often lower in arsenic levels than rice grown in other parts of the U.S. Now, I'm going to share a method that I use for eliminating much of this arsenic that you're going to find in your rice. I came across this method in a research study, which I'll share with you below. You want to place 1 part rice to 12 parts water in a pan and bring it to a boil. So that would be 1 cup of rice to 12 cups of water. Once you bring this to a boil, you're going to drain the water and rinse the rice. Then you can go on ahead and cook it as you normally would. Research shows that this will reduce your arsenic levels by 57%. Now, if you repeat this process a second time before you cook the rice, you can potentially reduce your arsenic levels by up to 75%. Now, let's talk about drinking water. These 6 states have been ranked as the worst for containing high levels of arsenic in their tap water. They're Arizona, California, New Mexico, Michigan, Minnesota, and Nevada. Now, these aren't the only states with arsenic problems. According to the United States Geological Survey Group, certain states with aquifers that supply their city's water can have higher than normal levels of arsenic. Even if your city or state doesn't have high levels of arsenic in the tap water, be aware that there are still many other health-damaging chemicals like chloride, fluoride, and pharmaceutical drugs, believe it or not, that occur in your tap water. So I always recommend that my patients use a carbon block water filtration system for their drinking and bathing water. Okay, next, let's take a look at the heavy metal cadmium. Cigarette smokers are exposed to ongoing levels of this heavy metal. Also, conventional produce farming has higher levels of cadmium in fruits and vegetables due to the fertilizers that are being used. How does all of this circle back to peripheral neuropathy? Well, heavy metals of any kind are neurotoxic, meaning they're poisonous to the nerves, and they can do extensive damage with time to both the peripheral and the central nervous system. Okay, let's move on to another hidden and overlooked cause of peripheral neuropathy, and that's contrast dyes used in medical studies like MRIs, CT scans, fluoroscopy, endoscopy, and colonoscopy. These are often hidden culprits in developing peripheral neuropathy. These dyes are used to provide better imaging. However, because they contain large amounts of chemicals like iodine, gadolinium, or barium, they can cause long-term damage to the body as well as the nervous system. Interestingly enough, if you do a Google search for Chuck Norris's wife, you'll see that his wife developed peripheral neuropathy also after one of these contrast studies. Well, these dyes are neurotoxic, and they can cause extensive damage to peripheral nerves. Another hidden cause of peripheral neuropathy is the use of organophosphates. These are the main chemicals found in pesticides, herbicides, and insecticides. According to the study published on these chemicals, they've been found to be neurotoxic for both humans and animals. So that includes our precious little fur babies. Well, this is a good time to talk about chemicals in food or beverages that are linked with nerve damage. Let's start with MSG, monosodium glutamate. This is an excitotoxin, meaning it has the ability to overstimulate neurons or nerve receptors, which can lead to widespread damage or nerve cell death. So next, we need to talk about artificial sweeteners like aspartame and sucralose. There are literally hundreds upon hundreds of research studies on the adverse effects of aspartame. Aspartame has not only been linked with peripheral neuropathy, but it's also been linked with seizures, Alzheimer's disease, stroke, cancers like leukemia and lymphoma, and cardiovascular disease. By the way, one more important fact to know is that both MSG and aspartame have the ability to cross the blood-brain barrier and the placental barrier in pregnant women. So before you jump ship and start using sucralose, which is sold under the brand name of Splenda, you need to know that a brand new research study was just released showing that this sweetener can be toxic to your genes and have a negative impact on your DNA. So what do you do? Well, the first thing is limit and prevent your exposure to these harmful toxins and chemicals. Gang, stop using commercial insecticides in or around your home. It's not good for your health and it's not good for your fur babies. You can go on YouTube or anywhere on the net and get recipes for DIY insecticides for your home or your garden. As a matter of fact, Dr. C and I use things like boric acid or diatomaceous earth in our own home that are much safer alternatives. Okay, the next thing you want to do is get those amalgams out of your mouth, guys. This is imperative, but you can't go to any general dentist to do this. The process of removing them can cause even more harm when you mobilize the mercury. So you need to use a SMART, or Smart Certified Dentist. These dentists have received special training and a certification to safety removal of the mercury from your mouth. If it's not done right, you can end up with even more health problems. Okay, the next thing you want to do is avoid eating the larger fish that have the highest concentration of mercury. Okay, another thing you want to do is buy as much of your produce organically. Now, I know organic isn't cheap, guys, especially if you're buying it from leading health food stores like Whole Foods, Sprouts, or Trader Joe's. However, Costco now carries a large line of organic produce that's much less expensive. Just that alone is worth the cost of a Costco membership. If you absolutely can't afford to buy any produce organically, then shop according to the Dirty Dozen list. This is a list that has been put out by the Environmental Working Group, and they release this list each year that categorizes the highest amounts of pesticides in fruits and in veggies. So if you can't afford organic, then know which produce has the highest levels of pesticides and avoid eating it. Okay, the next thing you want to do is try to avoid contrast dye studies unless your life depends upon it if you can. If you absolutely have to have a contrast study, I would recommend taking activated charcoal the day before, the day of the test, and for 1 week following the test. And this won't interfere with the study at all. Activated charcoal adsorbs many toxic substances and poisonous chemicals onto its surface and prevents it from being absorbed into the body. The next thing you want to do is please stop using artificial sweeteners. These are destroying your nervous system and so many other systems in your body. Stick with all natural sweeteners like monk fruit, and yes, you can use stevia as well. Now, improve your liver function to help remove many of these chemicals from your body so they don't get stored in your tissues and wreak havoc for years. The best way to do this is by consuming foods that support your liver function to clear out toxins. Beetroots, radishes, turmeric, cruciferous vegetables, and leafy greens. Also garlic, carrots, avocados, apples, and citrus fruits. There are also supplements that you can take which support your liver detoxification pathways like NAC or N-acetylcysteine. Also dandelion root, milk thistle, burdock root, yellow dock, turmeric, and ginger. By incorporating these principles into your life, you'll be clearing the path to allow your nerves to reach a full recovery. While the journey to recovery may be challenging, it's not impossible. The first step is to advocate for yourself by becoming empowered with knowledge. Don't settle for a hasty diagnosis or a one-size-fits-all approach. Remember, you are not alone in this journey. Your recovery is within reach, and with the right approach, you can reclaim your life and start living again. If you enjoyed today's video, please make sure you like it and share it with others, and don't forget to click on the bell to get notified as soon as we release new content. Together, we can unlock the mysteries of peripheral neuropathy and pave the pathway for healing and recovery. I look forward to seeing you on the road to great nerve health. Blessings. Okay, the next thing you want to do is avoid eating the larger fish. The larger fish? Avoid eating the larger fish. Okay. Neurodegenerative diseases, autoimmune, and chronic illnesses. So let's take a look at some of these. Right, Chloe? No? You're more interested in looking up there? All right, no problem.